Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to the TPL YouTube channel. So here we're going to be uploading some of the playoff matches that are going to be taking place over the next couple weeks. Should be pretty good time. So if you're excited to see some of those matches, make sure you subscribe, follow the channel, go follow the league on Twitter. You already know the whole deal. Today we are taking a look at the wild card match between Artisan Kane and the Bad Lombres, and Marcus and his Carolina Conkeldurrs. So before we get right into the matchup, I do want to give a big shout out to a member of the TPL family and a friend of the league, TGP David, who originally did hold Artisan Kane's playoff spots, but due to some unforeseen circumstances, did unfortunately have to drop out of the league. So big shout out to David, best wishes to him. Otherwise, we're just going to get into breaking down this matchup. So obviously we know both of these battlers are quite exceptional. We've seen what they can do. You can see that Dracovish, the 5th overall pick for the Bad Lombres, putting in some absolute work with those 20 KOs there. Has more KOs than the Primarina, Mawile, Venusaur, and Xatu combined, which is quite scary, though those numbers are a little bit skewed if you look at the games played and whatnot. But definitely a scary Pokemon for Marcus to try and deal with. And if you look at Marcus's side, you do see that Primarina, and if you look at Kane's team, that Primarina just can destroy everything that Kane has available there. And since we're on the topic of Marcus here, we should mention that he was able to take a team that was 4-3 at the time that he inherited it, and was able to go on and win the division. And not only that, he only has one Pokemon from that team that he inherited still, being that Torkoal. So that is quite the impressive feat. If you've seen Marcus play in the SideQuest Draft League, you know he's a very skilled battler, and it should be a pretty good matchup between these two divisional rivals. So I'm excited to see what we have for today. So we're going to get right into the game now. As you can see, there is the Ribombee and the Mawile out there on the field. So that is the lead options for both teams. We'll see that Ribombee go for a U-turn. He's going to get on out of there. Not a great matchup for the Mawile, so makes sense. Ribombee gets on out, and we'll see what Kane opts to bring in here. I would expect one of his bulkier pivots, though Mandibuzz is a little bit risky in case he goes for something like a Play Rough. So we will see what comes out here. That Fairy Stab just does absolute work to Kane's team, so it's quite difficult for Kane to pivot around into Pokemon like this. I believe that is the Mandibuzz. Yes, it is. So we do see this here. Mawile goes for the substitute. So now Mawile is pretty free to do whatever it wants on this turn. It could go for a Play Rough. It could go for a Swords Dance. Something along those lines. Does opt to go for the Play Rough. Oh, and that does a lot to the Mandibuzz. That does almost way too much. Do you see a Whirlwind come out? So the Mawile is going to get out of there, but now there is a Weavile in, and this Mandibuzz is very low HP. So to be honest, Weavile could honestly get away with just clicking Knockoff here instead of something like Icicle Crash and risking the miss. Knockoff is nice as well because it covers the option of Kane switching. So we will see here what Kane decides to go into, but as you look at things now, things are looking pretty well for Marcus, being able to get that much damage off onto the Mandibuzz. Okay, so we do see that Piloswine come out. It will take that knockoff, however, and it is going to take a lot from it. So that would be Banded Weavile. And it does knock off the Eviolite there as well. So another knockoff is going to come through and finish off that Piloswine. Obviously, that Piloswine lost that bulk from the Eviolite after having it knocked off, which is quite unfortunate for Kane. So we'll see how he opts to respond here. Okay, so he chooses to bring in the Ribombee. So I imagine that would be the Weavile coming out here. Doesn't want to take a Moonblast or something. Okay, so Marcus brings in the Torkoal, likely expecting the Moonblast, so goes into his Fairy Resist. Actually see the Quiver Dance come out of the Ribombee. However, depending on what this Ribombee has, I don't think it can really do a whole lot to a Torkoal, but we will see. We'll see what Kane has planned. Looks like Marcus is just going to be clicking that Lava Plume. Do see another Quiver Dance come out, which might be a little bit risky. We'll see. That could depend on what kind of Torkoal this is. If it's more offensively EV'd, still does a lot of damage. Ribombee, of course, quite the frail Pokemon. Oh, a Baton Pass coming out. That is certainly interesting. That is certainly interesting. And now I would imagine he's going to go into the Hydreigon here, being his Fire Resist. Yeah, so he does bring in the Hydreigon. So now there is a Quiver Danced up Hydreigon on the field. And yeah, that Lava Plume is doing nothing. Unfortunately, it does get the burn. But, Lumberry pops for the Hydreigon. So that burn does not matter. And now this Hydreigon, you got to think, is in a very, very good position. We do see a Dynamax come out here. So that will be the Hydreigon. Likely going to see something like a Max Darkness, maybe a Max Quake. But Torkoal's not taking this. Torkoal is not taking this. Hydreigon is one of the most powerful Pokemon in the format, so this will be very strong. Actually goes for Max Geyser. So he's going to be setting up the rain here. Able to KO the Torkoal with that despite the Sun having the damage of the water type attack. That should show you there how powerful this Hydreigon is. And now if you're Marcus, you might be a little bit scared because things aren't looking too great. He still does have that Weavile in the back, but I'm not sure how much Banded Ice Shard does, especially to a Dynamax Pokemon. So Marcus could be in a tough position here. We'll see what his answer is. Looks like it is going to be that Primarina. See if we can get an idea of what the set is here. Looks sub-toxic kind of set. So it looks like he is opting to Dynamax the Primarina here. So we'll see what this Hydreigon can do to the Primarina. If the Hydreigon is able to knock out the Primarina, this is huge for Kane. So yeah, Primarina Dynamax comes through. Gotta think that will be a Max Starfall coming out. But let's see what this Hydreigon can do. Max Lightning. Oh, but it's not enough to KO the Primarina, which is very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. However, we do have to remember Hydreigon is +2 special defense. And Hydreigon eats it. Wow. So Hydreigon staying alive there through the Max Starfall. That is very, very good for Kane. Leftovers recovery comes through, but this Hydreigon is, like I said, very, very powerful. Now the good thing is here is Marcus will be able to max guard and end the Hydreigon's Dynamax. And he still has that Weavile in the back to revenge kill this Hydreigon. But you got to think that with Primarina going down, it becomes much harder, much harder for Marcus to deal with a Pokemon like Dracovish. Especially with the Sun from Torkoal being gone. So We will see how this battle ends up turning out. Right now, it has been very good, very back and forth. You can feel the momentum shifting. I like to see this. See what Kane opts to do here. I assume the electric move he used was Shockwave. Yeah, it is Shockwave. So that is able to KO the Primarina. It's only a 60 power move, 60 base power, but with those Quiver Dance boosts, Hydreigon is as strong as damn near any Pokemon. So very, very good from Kane. Able to get rid of that Primarina. I imagine the Weavile would come out here. The Ice Shard makes sense into the Hydreigon. Should be able to revenge kill it here. We'll see if Kane opts to save this. It's not as effective without the Quiver Dance boost, but it is still obviously a Hydreigon, so a very, very valuable Pokemon to have. Ice Shard comes out, KOs the Hydreigon. And we'll see what comes out here. Because on this Ice Shard, this could be the time for Kane to say, okay, I am going to bring in my Dracovish. So we'll see. We will see. Could also be a job for that newly acquired free agent Wobbuffet. Just click counter. Okay, so he does opt to bring in that Dracovish. And like we discussed before the match started, this is a very, very scary Pokemon. Dracovish just can absolutely destroy teams. So we'll see what Marcus is able to do from this position. So he's going Mawile, which is smart. Get the Intimidate onto the Dracovish. Actually, he's not running Intimidate, so he's just going to die. So just sacking the Mawile. It must have been sheer force on that Mawile. So now if you're Marcus, do you go into Weavile? Because Weavile should still outspeed a Scarf Dracovish, provided it's Adamant Dracovish. If it's not, though, things could get a little bit hairy for Marcus pretty quickly. His other option is, of course, that Venusaur. So he does opt to bring in the Venusaur. Obviously, Grass type going to be resisting that Fish's Rend, but Dracovish doesn't really care about resist that much, to be honest. So we'll see what happens here. But like I said, this has been quite the match between these two battlers. And, we've seen them go head-to-head before in multiple different leagues, and I doubt this will be the last time either. Okay, so that Fish's Rend is going to come out into the Venusaur. Still does a ridiculous amount of damage. Sludge Bomb is going to do about half to that Dracovish. Doesn't pick up a poison or anything, which is a little bit unfortunate for Marcus. I think Marcus would have liked to have picked up a poison there. Okay, so Fish's Rend is coming out again. That's going to KO the Venusaur. And we're going to see here if this Dracovish is Jolly Scarf or Adamant Scarf. It actually looks like Marcus is opting to go into the Xatu. I figured he would have tried to go Weavile there. But maybe he thinks he needs some more chip damage. So we'll see what the play is here. Fish's Rend is going to come out. And it's just going to obliterate that Xatu. Yeah, it's one thing about Xatu. It's got a great move pool, but it's so frail. So frail. And it looks like Marcus is left just down to his Weavile. So, now again, I believe an Adamant Scarf Dracovish would still be underspeeding a Weavile. So, we could see here. I'm not going to say that Marcus is out of this by any means, but we'll see what happens here. Knockoff comes out. Is that going to pick up the KO? It does KO the Dracovish. Wow. So now Marcus is in a situation where he still might be able to do something here. Kane does still have that Ribombee in the back. However, Weavile actually has some decent special defense, but we do see the newly acquired Wobbuffet come out. So we'll see what Knockoff can do to the Wobbuffet. Wobbuffet obviously has that amazing HP stat, and Wobbuffet is able to survive. So the counter is going to come through. We'll hit into that Weavile, and Artisan Kane, after being given a second chance at his season, takes down Marcus and moves on. Well, congratulations to Artisan Kane. Well played to both teams. That was a great match. A great match to kick off the TPL playoffs. I'm super excited to see where the rest of this season goes. If you guys enjoyed that, make sure you subscribe.